Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing an Adamancipator deck profile. So this is probably the deck that I was the most excited for out of all of the new archetypes for the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Secret Slayers booster set, which is a really cool set that just had all sorts of different cool cards in it, like the Eldritch, the Adamancipator, and Rika, which I'm going to be doing all three on the channel, so definitely be on the lookout for all of those. But without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad. Definitely check out the Patreon down in the description because we have some really cool rewards for you guys, like getting a signed card, getting your name in the description of every single video, or getting to request a deck profile every single month that you are a patron. So let's get straight on to this. So the reason I think I like this deck profile so much is as a kid, I really did study rocks a lot, like all the different stuff like Ruby, Sapphire, Garnet, and that's kind of what these remind me of, is geologists and stuff. I mean, I know that's what they are, is geologists awakening the beast that's within the rock. So if you can power a crystal radio with a crystal, then, you know, you can do all this with them too. So we're going to be playing 3 copies of Adamancipator Analyzer. Analyzer is a really cool card because all of your tuner monsters, or all the excavators, geologists, share the ability that if your opponent controls a monster, then you can special summon this card from your hand, and then during your main phase you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can special summon one excavated level 4 or lower non-tuner rock monster, and you place the rest of them on the bottom of the deck in any order. But all of them share that excavating effect. Their other effects kind of vary just a little bit, and they kind of get a little bit different. This one, Analyzer, is probably the best one to open with because you can just special summon it if your opponent controls a monster, which is kind of nice. But basically, the excavating, all of them share that ability. So then we play 3 copies of Researcher. Researcher, her ability is that if you control a rock monster, you can excavate or accept another copy of yourself. Then you can special summon her from your hand. And then during your main phase, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck. And if you do, you can special summon one of the excavated level 4 lower non-rock monsters and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Then we play 3 copies of Seeker. Seeker is another really good Emancipator or Adamancipator monster. Basically what Seeker does is if you control an Emancipator monster, then you can special summon this card from your hand, and then you can also do the excavating thing. Then for the eggs or the gems, I play 3 copies of Adamancipator Crystal, Dragtite. If this card is special summoned by the effect of an Adamancipator card, you can draw a card, and if this card is in your graveyard, you can target a water synchro monster you control in your graveyard, and return to the extra deck, and if you do, you place this card on top of your deck, which is really cool to recycle it if it is in the graveyard. You don't ever want to recycle it when it's on the field, but you can recycle it from the graveyard. The reason I play this card at 3, some people are bumping this card all the way down to 1. I think that's a mistake to play this card at 1, because basically what this card does at 3 is it's a draw power card as well, letting you replace itself by drawing a card, which you can only activate one of effects. You can only draw once per turn off of it, but that's totally fine because you're going to dig into the deck, and you always want to be able to activate your Dragtite effect in the extra deck too. Then we play a single copy of Leonite. Leonite is really good too because if this card is special summoned by the effect of Emancipator, you can place one Emancipator card from your hand or graveyard on top of your deck, and if this card's in your graveyard, you can target a fire synchro monster you control or in your grave and return to the extra deck, and if you do, place this card on top of your deck, which is still pretty good. I only play 1 copy of Leonite, and I only play a single copy of Reptite. This card's still really good too because it basically shares the same ability as Leonite, that if this card is special summoned by the effect of Emancipator, you can place a rock monster from your hand or graveyard on top of your deck, which just basically lets you get any of the rock monsters that you want to excavate off the top of your deck and then special summon them with a copy of your Emancipator or Adamancipator monster, and then just special summon them onto your side of the field, which is really nice. I like that ability. So that's it for the Adamancipators. Let's get into the generic rock support. So the generic rock support can kind of vary. You can go for the Go-Go-Go engine. I don't play the Go-Go-Go engine because I feel like everybody's playing that engine, and I don't really like Go-Go-Gos and Dododos and stuff like that. But you can play them. They're really powerful in the deck, and I will mention to you guys what cards that you can drop for those cards. So first off, we're going to be playing a single copy of Block Dragon. Block Dragon is just a good one of in the deck. You just need one of it. You never need more of it because you're going to excavate it and get it out of the deck with Gallant Granite and stuff like that, and you just don't need more than one. But basically what this card does is if it's in your hand or grave, you can banish 3 earth monsters from your hand and or graveyard, and then rock monsters you control cannot be destroyed except by battle. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add up to 3 rock monsters from your deck to your hand whose total levels equal 8. which is totally fine with me because I play cards in this deck that can give me 2 3s and a 2 3s and a 2, which equals 8. So it's just perfectly fine for me to play to get that level 8. Then I play 3 copies of Kwakimeru Guardian. This build that I'm building is more of a stun build and less of a swarm build that you're going to put like 3 or 4 negates on field and then wait out your opponent until their turn. So the Kwakimeru Guardian is really good in here because during your end phase, you reveal a rock monster in your hand or another Kwakimeru, or you destroy this card. But the really cool effect about this card is that when a monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can tribute this card and negate the activation if you do destroy it. So it just negates a monster effect that is really good, because this card is literally a walking negate. If you put this card on the field, the Adamancipator Drag Knight, Crystal Wing, and something like a Naturia Beast, you have plenty of negates on the field to stop your opponent from doing anything that they're going to try and do. 1 copy of Kwakimeru Overload. Kwakimeru Overload is just a 1-up to me in this build, because if they're going to summon a monster, you can tribute this card, and then if you do destroy that monsters, but it's plural, so you can destroy multiple monsters with this card. I don't want to see it all that often, but I sometimes want to end on it, so I'll just play 1 copy of it. You can change it up and play this at any ratio that you want of the Kwakimerus, but I just think 4 is the perfect number. 3 copies of Gigantus. Gigantus is a good extender, and plus it helps with a little bit of stun as well, because Gigantus' effect is that you can banish an earth monster from your grave to special summon it, and if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you destroy all spells and traps on the field, which is really good because we barely play any spells and traps in this deck at all. So what you're going to do with this card is you're going to attack into your opponent's monster and then destroy all spells and traps if they're playing something like Altergeist. But basically you use this card as like a kamikaze, and he takes out all the spells and traps, which is fun. Or you can just put him on field as an extender to go into Gallant Granite or something like that. Then we play 3 copies of Doki Doki, because this deck makes my heart go Doki Doki. But you can banish a rock monster to special summon from your deck 1 rock monster with the same original attribute and level as the rock monster in face of attack position or face down defense position, which is really cool because if you have multiple Doki Dokis in your hand, if you draw like 2, you can discard 1 and then special summon like Seeker or a copy of your Researcher, put them on the field, and then start excavating, which is really nice to be able to do. Or if you don't have one of your tuners and you want one of your tuners, you can send like a Kwakimeru to the graveyard and then trigger its effect off. This is where I think the Dododo engine and Go-Go-Go engine works really well, is with this card, is because they summon out of the grave, so it's like you're just setting them up, which is really nice. But again, I kind of wanted to play a little bit more of a control build. I will do a swarm build where we have Go-Go-Gos and Dododos later on, but I will tell you guys what to change out in the deck to get that out. Then we play 1 copy of the Fossil Dyna. Fossil Dyna is really good in here. It's kind of like a secret tech that I play in here, because if you can end on the Fossil Dyna, which is not hard because you're excavating as much as 5 cards at a time, you can just special summon this card to your side of the field, and then neither player can special summon after it's set on the field. So you can just put this on the field with like Kwakimeru, Guardian, Drag Knight, and a Crystal Wing or something like that, and then you have plays for days. I mean, your opponent cannot special summon, and then you're stopping them from different card effects, and you're just stopping them from spells, and this card is just really good to me. 2 copies of Block Golem. Block Golem is a neat card in here. I think it's kind of like one of those unsung hero cards that people don't play in here that much, and it's what I usually search off of my Block Dragon. I'll add 2 Block Golems and a Doki Doki to my hand if it's later in the game. But if all monsters are in the graveyard are Earth monsters, then you can tribute this card to target 2 Earth level 4 or lower rock monsters in your graveyard, except another copy of itself, and then special summon those targets, but their effects are negated, or they can't activate their effects on the field. But it's essentially a monster reborn for 2. The only thing that you have to watch out for is this card is really good, but you have to watch out because these are not Earth. And your synchro monsters, some of your synchro monsters are not Earth either, so you kind of have to watch out for that a little bit. 1 copy of Sentry Soldier of Stone. Sentry Soldier of Stone comes in handy because if all monsters you currently control are rocks, then you can special summon this card from the graveyard, which is really cool. And then I play a single one of my personal techs that I haven't seen anybody else play, and that's 1 copy of Recover. So Recover is an interesting card in this deck because basically what this card does is if it's in your graveyard and your opponent has 5 or more cards more than you in their extra deck, then you can special summon this card by paying 2,000 life points, and it essentially gets you into Naturia Beast extremely easy by just going off with a level 4 monster, which is really cool. So, really quickly for you guys, the Dododo engine and Go-Go-Go engine is 3 Go-Go-Go Gigas, 3 Go gloves, and 1 Go giant. So what I do for that engine is I drop out the 2 block golems, which that's 2, the Quakimerus, that's 4, that's 6, 1 fossil dino, that's 7, and that's my entire engine right there. You just drop these 4 and then these 3 right here, and that's my entire engine. And then for the last 2 cards, I played 2 copies of Nibiru because it's essentially searchable with Galleon Granite, so I only played it 2, and it's really easy to search off the deck. So again, I'll show you guys that really quickly if you want to play the Dododo engine, which I know a lot of people are playing in the deck. Basically what you do is you drop these right here that I'm going to show you really quickly. If anybody's in the comments, definitely let them know if they're like, hey, how do you play the Dodo engine in here? But this is how you do it right here. You drop these cards right here. You put in 3 Go Gigas, 3 Dododo gloves, Dododo Dwarf Go gloves, and then you play a single copy of the Go Giant, which is another way to play the deck as well. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're playing a single copy of Monster Reborn. It's just a good extender. 1 Foolish Burial to send the exact rock monster you need to the graveyard. 3 copies of Emancipator Sign. Emancipator Sign lets you target a rock monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense position. Then, if you special summon any Emancipator monsters by this effect, you can take a level 4 lower rock monster from your deck and place it on top of your deck. So you essentially put any of them on top of the deck so you can excavate them. And then 3 copies of Called by the Grave, just to stop your opponent while you're trying to go into your, basically, lock that you're going into, that you're putting all of your Emancipator monsters on the field. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're playing a single copy of each of the Emancipator synchro monsters, and basically what these 3 cards do is really, really good. So we're going to go over these, and then I'll go over the rest of the extra deck. So basically what they do is this one, the Dragonite Emancipator Risen, basically lets you, during your main phase, excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, you get to return cards your opponent controls up to the number of excavated rock monsters. So if you excavate 5 rock monsters, you get to return 5 cards on your opponent's side of the field to their hand. That is really, really good, and this card is absolutely nuts. I thought about playing this at 2, but you can recycle it really easily with the stone, so it's super easy to just go back into this card. It also has the ability that when your opponent activates a spell or trap effect, while you have a water monster in your graveyard, you can negate the activation if you destroy it, which is really good as well. Now, Raptite, what it does is during your main phase, you can activate the top 5 of your deck, and then you special summon one of the excavated rock monsters in defense position, and you place the rest of them on the bottom deck in any order. And then during your opponent's turn, if you have a wind monster in your graveyard, which is the stone, you can target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it, which can be really beneficial to be able to do, and it is a quick effect as well to be able to pop that card in their graveyard and just banish it. And then Leonite is the one that a lot of people drop out and opt out of playing, but I really like it as a one-of, because during either player's turn, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add 1 excavated Emancipator card, which can be one of your copies of your tuner monsters. It's a really good extender, and I don't know why people aren't playing this card at 1, but also, if you have a fire monster in your graveyard, you can special summon a rock monster in your graveyard, which is really good as an extender. Leonite is a really good extender, and that's why I play it at 1 in this deck. So that's it for your 3 Adamancipators. For the other cards, I'm playing Satellite Warrior. Satellite Warrior is an OTK card in this deck. You make it late game. If it's synchro summoned, you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of synchro monsters in your graveyard and destroy them. And if you do, this card gains 100 attack or 1,000 attack for each card destroyed, which can be a lot. And that can be a lot. I mean, you can pop up to 5 or 6 cards with this card and make this card like 7,000 easy later in the game. Borreload Savage, you make this card just to have a walking negate, essentially, and you always are going into Crystal Needle Fiber. Crystal Wing is really good in here because Crystal Wing just basically negates, and plus it goes with the archetype. It's a crystal. It goes with the cards. 1 copy of Naturia Barkion. Barkion just helps you stop traps if you're going up against Altergeist or Paleo. I mean, who's playing Paleo nowadays after Toad got hit to 1? 1 copy of Naturia Beast. Naturia Beast basically just stops your opponent from doing spell stuff, which is still pretty cool, but actually Naturia Barkion does come in clutch sometimes because you can stop infinite impermanence with it. And then we play a single copy of Formula Synchron. The reason you play this is because you can special summon it from your extra deck with Crystron Needle Fiber. For the XYZ monsters, playing Galleon Granite as a one-of, you can overlay this card with 2 rock, or just overlay this card with 2 monsters. Detach a material from this card to special summon a rock monster from your hand in face down defense position, or add a rock monster from your deck to your hand. Basically, King of the Feral Imps for rock monsters, which is pretty cool. One copy of number 60, because it can boost the attack of a monster to help you OTK your opponent, which is usually going to be Satellite Warrior, because it's really funny to do, and boost it to double, even when it's 7,000. You can make Satellite Warrior, you can like 14,000 easy with this card, and it's really funny. Appaloosa just as a good kind of ender, because you can end with this card when you go into Crystron, Needle Fiber, if you want to go that route instead of Formula Synchron, because it's just another option for you guys. Nightmare Unicorn, because it bounces stuff. One copy of Phoenix to pop spells and traps, and a single copy of the Crystron Needle Fiber, because Crystron Needle Fiber lets you special summon a tuner monster from your deck, which can be one of your Emancipator Seekers, or Emancipator, your Emancipator Seekers, or your Emancipator Researcher, and then you just special summon them from your deck. Or Recover, if you want to summon Recover, which then can recur itself if your opponent has 5 or less cards, which you're burning through this extra deck so fast, it's gonna happen. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a really fun deck to play around with. I highly recommend that you guys give this a try if you can get a hold of Researcher, because she was short print in the deck, or in the Secret Slayers, which really sucks that they did that. But for the most part, besides Researcher, the entire deck is pretty budget. I will say that. The main deck, besides Researcher, I pulled, like, out of 4 boxes, I pulled the entire deck besides Researcher like 3 times, almost. So it was really easy to pull out of Secret Slayers, except for Researcher. Which you guys, if you want to proxy it, I do have a video to show you guys how to proxy it. So, anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell near so you can become part of the notification squad. Definitely check out the Patreon down in the description, because we have some really cool rewards for you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.